has never been a fan of predestination and has always wanted freedom to seek his own path. Now, he left the kingdom of God, heaven, the silver city. He went alongside those who deemed his actions logical. These actions or thoughts came across Lucifer the more often as he studied or observed Lilith, as angels are to watch over the mortals and so as God over them. His path was chosen and he didn't like this as he saw it more like slavery. After God has created them to be his tools, they helped the Almighty to shape creation, and after then, Yahweh never spoke to them for eons. Until the day Lucifer avenged heaven after being cast down for years. He gets defeated by Gabriel, or seemingly defeated by him. God gave him a realm which is hell, where he can rule forever as the great adversary. After ruling hell for 10 billion years and he got tired of it and realized he never actually achieved what he set out for, but was just fulfilling the presence's grand plan. So he told Dream of the Endless to sever his wings after he locked the gates of hell and gave them to Dream. Now, let's go over these concepts called the Bassinos. As Lucifer set out to actually start fulfilling his quest, he has no power above the presence's plan. At least, he doesn't realize he does for now. Or maybe he did know, but that wasn't exactly portrayed per se. Lucifer reached out to one of the angels who left the Silver City with him, and he goes by the name Melius, who was somewhat an artist, but he was also incredibly powerful in his prime as he created these cards called the Bassinos, and even Lucifer was a part of it. In other words, he created his own light bringer in the form and essence of Lucifer. Melius couldn't contain the power of his own creation, which he tried fighting but didn't lose initially as Lucifer used a form of ritual from a bird to hurt Melius, letting the cards go free because he wants to perform a divination which would allow the cards to tell him his future so he would know if his plan is in vain. But Melius was scared of the future Lucifer might have, so he refused, and that's why Lucifer did what he did. Also ruined his life storage of humans' innate observations as write-ups, which he used such concepts of human understanding of their origins to create the Bassinos, which hold the same purpose of Destiny's book. And the Destiny's book is basically linked with their eyesight, in which they can just see the future. After Destiny let Melius view a bit of it, Melius made the purpose of the Bassinos to tell the future, which Destiny's book holds what will, what can, as what shall be, as well as more than that. After the cards went free, they took control of this lady named Jill, who actually played a lot of role in Lucifer's comics, as they helped Lucifer in defying his purpose in heaven. And to be honest, I don't fully understand how they did that, but that has been said. Lucifer created a gate which would be spoken a bit about as we transverse through the narratives and feats. Now, later on, within Lucifer's creation, which would be touched up soon, the Bassinos invaded it after realizing that there was a way to kill Lucifer, which was within a feather that is an army placed within his constellation of wings. LOL, do y'all get the joke? Either ways, that power was actually gotten from the card Melius created for Lucifer, which Lucifer stored most of his own power within that feather, and he wanted to use it to kill the Bassinos. and the Bassinos used that card to know Lucifer's future and plans, taking a step ahead of him, but they thought he had died, Lucifer of all people. True, his physical body did burn, but Lucifer can't exactly die, at least within the plan of the present. Which sounds funny, as he should be able within such, but he created creation with his brothers, as they were the tools which the presence acted as in creating within the source. Now that we have sort of touched the Bassinos, how about I go over other feats and we call this a day? He's able to look into a person's life and tell them their events, be it past, present, or future, except his. He was able to restrict death from taking a soul. He created a portal that leads to outside creation, which was established earlier. He's so powerful that the entire silver city or heaven prepared just to take on him. And it is embarrassing to the silver city because Musubi, who Lucifer killed without his powers in the house of windowless rooms, was able to utterly violate hundreds of angels until she was killed by Metatron. And also note that in heaven and hell, ordinary cherubs are platonic archetypes, talk less of these so-called father angels that are baseline autoversal but on a low scale. He goes to the edge of creation, which is the source, and within the source lies something called an aleph, which he could view all of creation at once. Note that the physical manifestation of the source is above the aleph, but yet metaphysically everything is within the source except the overvoid. Lucifer battles this monster and wins. Yet this same monster just eats and rips all the remaining angels as they fly into the void, which is weird. They shouldn't be able, but whatever. We see this angel named Sandalpan, who wanted Ellen Balog's ovaries or wanted to mate with her to create an army like he did or had done with Lilith. And he beats Michael, who doesn't remotely use his power for the most part, and it's always sort of weakened states. He captures Michael, and this angel, which I prefer not to say his annoying name again, is one of Lucifer's underlings. Lucifer takes Michael into the void, and Michael explodes after going through a rebirth, and while that took place, the power of Michael, which God made him the demiurge, and he is the foundation of God's creation. Basically, he made the source, which he is linked to God's power directly. Lucifer gave rise to the stars, galaxies, mainly their energies required for their formation, and Gabriel gave it shape and made it matter as a whole. And that's what happened here, just that either of them can make use of each other's roles as creators, but they had just one role to abide to, which Lucifer left God's tyranny. As we established, he looked for freedom from this grand plan. The basis of Lucifer's creation is created by Michael, for those who couldn't tell the obvious context. Now that doesn't mean he can't, and for him to tank such attack by powering up heavily as well is impressive. Within his creation, or this creation, Lucifer created everything else, which includes his own concept of the endless. He shattered the gates to the void into a million pieces, folding it through time and space. Lucifer is powerful enough to quantify omnipotence in the sense relative to the presence. Presence left creation, and these two fools took over his power because presence is a title with power and not God himself. In fact, the presence is is being in the presence of God. But these are things I will dive in on my presence video, actually explaining what it is. He was able to kill them before they became the presence fully, and yet they was already immune to all power. He destroyed the Logos, the tower in which the voice of God speaks through. And this voice was able to knock out a weakened Michael, and Michael never actually has his guard up, as even Elaine could withstand the voice. Lucifer is able to stand within the power of Michael after he died. This same power that by leaking out harms creation, and within part of this power, Elaine created her own creation, which was a replica to that of the presence and Lucifer's, which had help from Michael, but Lucifer can pull it alone. A weakened Lucifer is able to kill Fenrir, who was going to destroy Yggdrasil and already destroyed the throne of the presence. He also killed the daughter of Bassinos, who got reborn from Jill after she got forced into killing herself and her members or siblings. Lucifer turned her into a ragdoll and sent her to the house of the presence itself, which all form of creation is smaller than a soccer ball. From there, also gave her a knife that's bigger than creation, and presence used it to weigh the survival of creation. Lucifer is able to view everything from eternity. He is stronger than Silkman, who could actually project from the void, and has cheated death, but more like he just waits for a new creation and stays there, so on forever. He wasn't affected by the presence control, and after cutting down the presence, who isn't really the presence but still is the presence, after cutting him down, could remove the mind control that was used on everyone. He's able to pick the next presence. Now that his feats have been covered, has been delivered and explained, two things has been retconned from the classic lines, which are the placements of Yggdrasil, actually three things: Yggdrasil in power, Lucifer, and alongside Lucifer and his brothers creating within the source, and the third thing is Lucifer being stronger than the endless. Dream did state that Lucifer is far more powerful than him, but as long as I'm concerned, it could go either way, right? Depending on how you interpret the cosmology concerning with Hecate and the collective unconscious, because with that alone, and even some other bases, because if you actually think about it a little bit more, Lucifer never actually still escaped Destiny's book. He really still actually never really escaped Destiny's book. And you understand when I do the presence videos and my endless video, it's because he's implied above them. There are some contradictions, but he is not necessarily above the endless, to be honest. If you found this video informative, please do to like, share, comment, subscribe. I thought this would actually be longer, but it's actually very